Welcome to the Declassified Files. I'm your host, Ben Carter. In the heart of the Cold War era, a secret initiative was launched by the U.S. Air Force. Its name, Project Blue Book. Not a military stratagem against a foreign adversary, but a classified investigation into a phenomenon that transcended national borders, defied conventional understanding, and sparked both fear and fascination. The subject, unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. The year was 1952, a period marked by mounting anxiety about the unknown. Sightings of strange lights and unexplained objects in the skies had been increasing, not just in the United States, but around the world. The public was on edge, the media was in a frenzy, and behind closed doors, the highest echelons of the U.S. government were grappling with a question no one knew how to answer. What were these objects? Where did they come from? And most importantly, were they a threat? Project Blue Book was the U.S. Air Force's attempt to address these questions. Officially, its mandate was twofold: to scientifically analyze UFO-related data and to determine if these unidentified objects posed a threat to national security. But beneath the surface, there was more happening. The project was headquartered at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, a place synonymous with secrecy and cutting-edge technology. A fitting setting for an investigation of this magnitude. The team was composed of military personnel, scientists, and specialists in various fields. Their task was monumental: to investigate, catalog, and explain thousands of UFO sightings and encounters. As the project progressed, the team found themselves delving deeper into a world of high strangeness. Reports flooded in from all quarters: pilots, police officers, ordinary citizens, even astronauts, all describing encounters with objects that defied all known laws of physics. Objects that could hover motionlessly one moment and then accelerate at unimaginable speeds the next. Objects that could change direction instantly without any apparent regard for inertia. Objects that were silent, yet moved with an efficiency that made the most advanced human technology seem primitive by comparison. Project Blue Book would span 17 years, investigating over 12,000 UFO sightings. Yet it was shrouded in secrecy, its findings often disputed or dismissed. But why? What did these investigators see, and what conclusions did they reach? The answers to these questions are buried deep within the classified files of Project Blue Book, waiting to be unearthed. As we delve deeper into the hidden annals of this clandestine operation, we will uncover the enigmatic and often unsettling reality of what the U.S. Air Force discovered in their pursuit of the truth about UFOs. Project Blue Book was not the first of its kind. The U.S. Air Force's interest in UFOs began in 1947, spurred by an increasing number of sightings coupled with rising public anxiety. The Cold War was in its formative years, and the collective consciousness was gripped by a pervasive sense of impending danger. In this climate of fear and uncertainty, UFO sightings were often interpreted as advanced Soviet technology or, even more alarming, manifestations of extraterrestrial intelligence. The Air Force's initial response was Project Sign, launched in 1948. However, the project's conclusions were inconclusive and controversial. A faction within the team suggested that the UFOs were indeed extraterrestrial spacecraft, but this hypothesis was met with stiff resistance from higher echelons within the military establishment. The project, deemed too problematic, was dissolved within a year. Next came Project Grudge, which, unlike its predecessor, was marked by an overt skepticism towards UFO sightings. Its name alone suggested a dismissive stance, and it was clear that its primary objective was not to identify the origins of these sightings, but rather to debunk them. Yet, public sightings of UFOs persisted and public pressure mounted, forcing the Air Force to re-evaluate its position. Thus, in 1952, Project Blue Book was born. Named after the college testing booklets, the project marked a shift in the Air Force's approach to UFOs. It was intended to be more transparent, more scientific, and more open to the possibility of extraterrestrial origins. Under the leadership of Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, Project Blue Book's goal was to objectively collect and evaluate UFO data, separate fact from fiction, and above all, to calm public hysteria over flying saucers. Interestingly, the creation of Project Blue Book coincided with the most significant wave of UFO sightings in U.S. history, known as the Summer of the Saucers. The timing was fortuitous, providing the newly minted project with a wealth of cases to investigate. Yet, even as Blue Book aimed for transparency, layers of secrecy enveloped its operations. The complex interplay between public reassurance and clandestine investigations set the stage for a series of events that would forever engrave Project Blue Book in the annals of UFO history. The secret files of this project hold stories of unexplained phenomena, high strangeness, and a quest for truth in the mysterious universe of UFOs. The hidden nature of Project Blue Book was maintained until 1974, when a Freedom of Information Act request by the Center for UFO Studies led to the declassification and release of the project's files. Suddenly, thousands of case files, filled with reports, analyses, and sometimes unsettling eyewitness accounts, were thrust into the public domain. The response was immediate and intense. UFO enthusiasts, researchers, and skeptics alike pored over the documents, each seeking to validate their own theories and beliefs. Among the declassified documents, one report stood out: the Robertson Panel Report, a summary of a scientific advisory panel's review of Project Blue Book. This panel, convened in 1953 by the Central Intelligence Agency, was tasked with determining the potential threat posed by UFOs to national security. Their conclusion was unequivocal: UFOs were not a threat, and the vast majority could be explained as misinterpretations of natural phenomena or man-made objects. However, the report also recommended a public relations campaign to reduce public interest in UFOs, leading to further speculation about a government cover-up. Journalists, too, played a crucial role in bringing Project Blue Book to light. Investigative journalist Jack Anderson, in his nationally syndicated column Washington Merry-Go-Round, criticized the Air Force's handling of the project and accused them of suppressing evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. His reporting sparked public outrage and questions about the government's transparency and truthfulness. The U.S. government's initial response was dismissive. They defended Project Blue Book as a necessary measure to investigate and debunk UFO sightings, to protect national security, and to allay public fears. Yet, the criticisms and questions persisted, leading to the project's eventual termination in 1969. Even with the declassification of Project Blue Book, many questions remain. The released files, though extensive, are believed by some to be incomplete, fueling theories of withheld evidence and hidden truths. The government's insistence on the mundane nature of UFO sightings, contrasted with eyewitness testimonies of inexplicable phenomena, only adds to the enigma. The declassification of Project Blue Book did not end the debate on UFOs. Instead, it amplified it. The project's legacy lives on in the enduring fascination with UFOs, the ever-present quest for truth, and the insatiable human curiosity about our place in the universe. The mysteries of Project Blue Book continue to captivate and confound, a testament to our timeless fascination with the unknown. At the helm of Project Blue Book was Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, the first director of the project. Ruppelt, an officer with an engineering background, was tasked with bringing method and order to the investigation of UFO sightings. He is credited with coining the term unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, a more neutral term than the previously used flying saucers. Ruppelt's approach, noted for its scientific rigor and openness to different explanations, set the tone for the project's early years. But Ruppelt was not alone. He was part of a larger chain of command within the U.S. Air Force, which itself was an arm of the Department of Defense. Higher up the chain, decisions about the project's direction and focus were made by senior military officials and, ultimately, by the Secretary of Defense. Several other key figures were involved in the project. Dr. J. Allen Hynek, an astrophysicist, served as a scientific consultant for Project Blue Book. Initially skeptical of UFO sightings, Hynek's views evolved over time. He noted that some sightings could not be easily dismissed and eventually became a prominent advocate for serious scientific study of UFOs. In addition to the U.S. Air Force and the Department of Defense, other government agencies were also implicated in the investigation of UFO sightings. The Central Intelligence Agency showed keen interest in the project, as did the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Both agencies had their own reasons for interest, from concerns about national security to the potential for technological advancements. Beyond these government bodies, a plethora of unofficial groups and individuals also played a role. UFO enthusiasts, amateur investigators, and even hobbyist groups like the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena contributed their own research and theories. Their collective efforts, fueled by an unwavering belief in extraterrestrial life, added another layer to the conversation. The dynamics between these various players were complex and often contentious. Within the military and government, there were differing views on how to handle the UFO phenomenon. Some advocated for transparency and scientific inquiry, while others favored secrecy and dismissal. This tension, coupled with public scrutiny, made Project Blue Book a hotbed of intrigue and speculation. The chain of command behind Project Blue Book, from Ruppelt to the Secretary of Defense, navigated these pressures with a mixture of openness and obfuscation. They sought to strike a balance between acknowledging the unexplained and maintaining public order, a delicate act that would shape the course of the project and its legacy. As we delve into the records, one of the first striking aspects is the sheer volume of documentation. Thousands of reports, photographs, and witness testimonies were collected and meticulously analyzed. Each case was filed with corresponding data such as the date, time, location, and the nature of the sighting, along with descriptions of the object, its movements, and any related physical or psychological effects on the observers. However, as comprehensive as this data might seem, it is fraught with inconsistencies and gaps. Some files are incomplete, with missing pages or sections inexplicably redacted. In several instances, photographs and sketches that were reportedly part of the original case file are missing, their absence raising more questions than answers. The contradictions within the documentation are also puzzling. For instance, in the famous Lonnie Zamora incident of 1964, the police officer's account of an egg-shaped craft with two humanoid figures contradicts the official Blue Book conclusion, which suggested a misidentified dust devil. Similarly, the 1961 Betty and Barney Hill abduction case, despite its intricate detail and the physical evidence, was dismissed as a delusion caused by the couple's stress. The witness testimonies collected present an even more complex layer of the puzzle. Civilians, pilots, police officers, and even astronauts reported sightings. Many of these testimonies, such as the 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident, were corroborated by multiple independent witnesses and radar confirmations. Yet these cases, too, were often dismissed with mundane explanations like temperature inversions or misidentified aircraft. Moreover, the testimonies of Project Blue Book's own staff members hint towards less mundane conclusions. Ruppelt himself, despite his initial skepticism, admitted that some cases couldn't be readily explained. Dr. Hynek, who began as a staunch skeptic, eventually became a vocal advocate for UFO research. His transformation was so drastic that he even coined the term close encounters, categorizing the varying degrees of human interaction with UFOs. The scrutiny of these contradictions, the missing or redacted content, and the divergence between official conclusions and individual testimonies keep the debate alive. The Project Blue Book archives, instead of providing clear answers, seem to deepen the mystery of the UFO phenomenon. The documentation, despite its inconsistencies and gaps, continues to be a trove of tantalizing clues, hinting at the possibility of realities beyond our current understanding. In the context of these revelations, the role of the media cannot be understated. The press played a vital part in shaping public understanding of Project Blue Book and the UFO phenomenon itself. Journalists, researchers, and pop culture collectively weaved the UFO narrative into the fabric of society. Yet their efforts were often mired in misinformation and government obfuscation, further complicating the public's quest for truth. The media's interest in UFOs spiked during the 1950s and 1960s. The press was awash with reports of strange lights in the sky and eerie encounters with unidentified flying objects. These reports had a wide reach, shaping public opinion and often inciting both fascination and fear. However, the government's official stance, as relayed through Project Blue Book, was one of measured skepticism, routinely attributing sightings to misinterpretations of natural or man-made phenomena. This dichotomy between sensational media reports and government dismissals created an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. The public was left in a state of limbo, torn between believing the extraordinary accounts of UFO sightings and accepting the government's mundane explanations. As a result, theories about cover-ups and government manipulation began to take root. This sentiment was strengthened by instances where the government's explanations appeared to defy logic. One such case was the 1965 Kecksburg UFO incident, where eyewitnesses reported a fireball descending into the woods, only for the official investigation to conclude it was a meteor. The disparity between the eyewitness accounts and the official explanation only fueled public suspicion of a cover-up. On the other side of the spectrum, pop culture began to take a keen interest in UFOs. Television shows like The Twilight Zone and The Outer Limits played with the idea of extraterrestrial life, blending science fiction with cultural anxieties. This further amplified the public's fascination with the unknown, expanding the discourse around UFOs beyond cloak-and-dagger government investigations and into the realm of entertainment. Concurrently, a new breed of UFO researchers emerged. These investigators, often independent or associated with civilian research groups, began to probe the claims and counterclaims around UFO sightings. They scrutinized the findings of Project Blue Book, delving into the inconsistencies and gaps in the official reports. By doing so, they gave a voice to the skepticism shared by many, challenging the official narrative and opening up the UFO discourse to a broader audience. In this climate of mistrust, intrigue, and fascination, the narrative around UFOs and Project Blue Book evolved. The official lines blurred, the media reports grew more sensational, and the public's belief in the possibility of extraterrestrial life solidified. It was a time of transformation, a period when the UFO phenomenon moved from the fringes of society and firmly into the mainstream consciousness, where it continues to captivate and confound us to this day. However, this public fascination and skepticism around Project Blue Book and UFOs was not without counter-arguments. Many of the sightings that were reported and investigated turned out to be misinterpretations of natural terrestrial phenomena. Venus, the brightest planet in our solar system, was often mistaken for a UFO due to its intense luminosity and apparent movement across the night sky. Weather balloons, aircraft, and even birds were frequently reported as unidentified flying objects. Then there were the hoaxes. Some individuals, eager for attention or a quick buck, fabricated UFO sightings. These false reports not only muddled the waters of genuine investigation, but also created an air of cynicism around the topic of UFOs. Skeptics pointed to these hoaxes as proof that the whole UFO phenomenon was nothing more than a mix of wishful thinking, misinterpretation, and deception. Experts in various fields also offered their own interpretations. Astronomers pointed out that the vast distances between stars make it incredibly unlikely for extraterrestrial life to viably reach Earth. Psychologists suggested that the heightened Cold War anxieties could have led to mass hysteria and hallucinations. They argued that the UFO phenomenon was more a reflection of societal fears and desires than any physical reality. Likewise, some critics suggested that the U.S. Air Force was not so much covering up evidence of extraterrestrial life, but rather, it was using the UFO phenomenon as a smokescreen. This theory posits that the Air Force deliberately fostered public interest in UFOs to divert attention from their own classified projects and advanced technology tests. Despite these counter-arguments and alternate interpretations, the UFO phenomenon has maintained its allure. The very nature of a UFO as an unidentified object leaves ample room for speculation and wonder. Whether it's a misidentified planet, a secret government project, or a genuine extraterrestrial craft, the mystery endures. The question is not definitively answered, and with every new sighting, every unexplained incident, the intrigue of the unknown is reignited. Thus, as Project Blue Book concluded its investigations, it left behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a society more intrigued by the possibility of extraterrestrial life than ever before. It was a testament to our innate curiosity and our enduring quest to understand the universe around us. As we continue to gaze at the night sky, the question remains, Are we alone in the universe? The answer, it seems, is still out there. The intrigue surrounding Project Blue Book doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is, in fact, part of a larger global phenomenon of UFO investigations, secret programs, and government projects. The recurring patterns and shared themes that emerge across decades and borders serve to deepen the mystery and fuel further speculation. Take, for example, the UK's Ministry of Defence's UFO project, also known as the Flying Saucer Working Party, which operated in the 1950s. Much like Project Blue Book, this program was responsible for investigating and explaining UFO sightings across the United Kingdom. The similarities don't end there. The British UFO project, too, was eventually shut down, citing no evidence of extraterrestrial life or threat to national security. Yet, like its American counterpart, it left behind a legacy of unexplained sightings and enduring questions. Then there's the case of the Belgian UFO wave in the late 1980s, where a series of sightings of triangular UFOs over Belgium sparked widespread interest and speculation. The Belgian Air Force responded with its own investigations, but definitive answers remained elusive. While some cases were explained as misinterpretations or hoaxes, others remained unexplained, adding another layer to the global UFO mystery. Furthermore, the Soviet Union during the Cold War era is also known to have carried out extensive UFO investigations under a program known as SETCA. Despite the political and ideological differences between the US and the USSR, their approaches to UFOs share striking similarities. Both governments maintained an official stance of skepticism, yet both conducted extensive investigations, the results of which were largely kept secret from the public. Across the continents, from Canada's Project Magnet to Australia's Operation Airstrip, governments around the world have engaged in the study of UFOs, often with similar patterns of investigation, explanation, and ultimately, inconclusiveness. Each of these programs, in its own way, reflects the larger global fascination with the unknown and the enduring question of our place in the universe. Project Blue Book, in this context, becomes not just an isolated American phenomenon, but a piece of a larger global puzzle. The patterns that emerge, of sightings, investigations, and unanswered questions, reflect a shared human experience. It's a testament to our collective curiosity and our relentless pursuit of answers, even in the face of the great unknown. And so, the story of Project Blue Book is not just a story of the U.S. Air Force's secret UFO investigations, but a chapter in humanity's ongoing quest to understand the universe and our place within it. As we delve further into the 21st century, it's clear that the legacy of Project Blue Book still holds relevance. In recent years, we've seen a renewed interest in UFO sightings, spurred in large part by technological advancements and the ongoing release of government documents. The questions that Project Blue Book sought to answer have not disappeared. Instead, they've evolved in the face of new evidence and shifting global perspectives. In 2020, the Pentagon formally declassified 3 videos, initially leaked in 2007 and 2017, showing unidentified aerial phenomena. This was an unprecedented move, and it stirred a fresh wave of speculation and intrigue. The videos, captured by Navy pilots, show objects moving in unusual ways, far beyond the capabilities of known aircraft. While not definitive proof of extraterrestrial life, the footage reignites the conversation about what might be lurking in our skies. Moreover, the U.S. government's interest in UFOs hasn't waned. In fact, it's arguably more transparent now than it was during the era of Project Blue Book. In 2020, the Department of Defense announced the establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Its mission? To detect, analyze, and catalog UAPs that could potentially pose a threat to U.S. national security. The Internet age has also revolutionized how sightings are reported and shared, democratizing the process once controlled largely by government entities. Today, anyone with a smartphone can record potential UFO encounters and share them with the world. This influx of digital data has made the task of identifying and explaining these phenomena more complex than ever. The role of geopolitics adds another layer to the ongoing saga of UFO investigations. The race for technological superiority in military and space exploration is a global competition, and the identification of unknown aerial phenomena can have significant implications. Any advanced technology, regardless of its origin, holds potential advantages for the nation that can understand and replicate it. So, the study of UFOs, once considered fringe science, is now situated at the intersection of technology, national security, and global competition. As nations around the world continue to investigate these phenomena, they do so with an awareness that the stakes are higher than ever. In this light, Project Blue Book can be seen as a precursor to the modern era of UFO investigations, a first step toward unraveling a mystery that continues to captivate and confound us. The questions it sought to answer are as relevant today as they were over half a century ago. And as we continue to search for answers, the legacy of Project Blue Book serves as a reminder of the enduring human fascination with the unknown. In the shadowy annals of history, Project Blue Book stands as an enduring testament to humanity's relentless pursuit of truth, however nebulous and elusive it may be. It was born from a thirst for knowledge, an urgent need to understand the seemingly inexplicable. It was an audacious endeavor, punctuated by intrigue and enigma, situated at the nexus of science, secrecy, and power. The project, though shrouded in controversy and met with skepticism, underscored a pivotal point. It highlighted the lengths to which power structures will go to maintain control, to decipher the unknown, to harness the potential of the unfathomable for their advantage. It is a profound commentary on the dynamics of power, the need to know, to control, to wield influence over the uncharted territories of knowledge. Moreover, the story of Project Blue Book brings forward a fascinating paradox. While it was a manifestation of a government's effort to decipher and possibly control the unknown, it also laid bare the human fascination with the inexplicable and our collective yearning to unravel the mysteries of the universe. In essence, the project became a mirror reflecting a dual image. On one side, the calculated pragmatic machinery of governance, striving to demystify and control. On the other, the curious, awestruck human spirit, forever yearning to explore, to understand, to break the chains of the familiar and venture into the realm of the unknown. This duality is what makes the tale of Project Blue Book resonate even today, drawing us into its labyrinth of intrigue and mystery. It reminds us of our ceaseless quest for knowledge, our struggle to reconcile with the unknown, and our innate desire to understand our place in the cosmos. As we continue to probe the skies, to question the unexplained, and to grapple with the magnitude of our existence, we do so in the reflection of Project Blue Book's legacy. The story of Project Blue Book, then, is not just a chronicle of a government project. It's an exploration of the human condition. It is a testament to our desire to push boundaries, to question, to seek, to understand. It exemplifies our inherent need to make sense of the world around us and beyond, even in the face of the unfathomable. It is, in essence, a story of us, a narrative of humanity's ceaseless endeavor to pierce the veil of the unknown, to stand at the threshold of the cosmic theater and gaze at the grand spectacle that is the universe. Thanks for listening. This has been the Declassified Files. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.